Hello and welcome to a very brief analysis of Chapter 12 of Crow Country. First of all, let's have a look at what happens in this chapter. This chapter involves Ellie's trip back to the pub looking for the gloves that she perhaps left there from the evening before. And on the way, she has one of her time slip episodes and encounters a heated argument between Jimmy Raven, Jerry Mortlock, and Clary Hazard tries to calm the situation somewhat. And at the end of that conversation, Jimmy Raven speaks with Sadie and explains how he doesn't really understand what's going on. Yet Sadie still offers to help, not knowing how she might be able to achieve that. Alright, so let's have a look and see what some of the important quotes in this chapter might show us. I've highlighted this section here because it looks at the importance of this particular setting, describing the old shop and its broken windows and its dilapidated appearance as something that wouldn't really draw much attention, but it holds a great sense of mystery and a very strong connection with Sadie, and that's why she wants to explore and try and understand that link, and it's that mystery that draws her in to her time-lapse encounter. If we move further on in this chapter, we can see that we've got some of the heated dialogue captured here, where Jerry Mortlock is emphasizing how angry and how frustrated he is with Jimmy Raven suggesting that he's not allowed or shouldn't be damming the creek and flooding the valley. And there's a certain irony in that, because the final sentence here says, "You'd think it was his own damned land." And of course we know that the Aboriginal population has a much stronger connection with the land than the European settlers. And in the next sentence, Jimmy actually outlines that it's not his land, it's not his country, but still he is the one who recognises the significance of this land, and he is the one who is fighting to maintain its sacred value, or its value as a sacred place. Let's keep going through. Here we see when Clary is speaking to Jimmy Raven, he refers to him as Bird, and that's the nickname that Jimmy was given when he was in the army. And he's not often referred to in that way throughout the text, but it's another good example of the symbolism, the significance of his name. And he'll play a more important role. That connection will be made more clear as you progress through the novel. And at the bottom of the page we can see Jimmy using an analogy to try and explain his point of view here in a way that a white audience, a modern audience, a way that we might be able to understand his dilemma. And when he says it's likely to be setting a church on fire, we know that we can't destroy sacred places like that, and we understand very quickly the horror that that would create for the community. Yet the community is more than willing to do exactly the same sort of thing to the Aboriginal sacred places. Let's continue through, shall we? Now there's lots of quotes that I can't go through because I'm trying to keep this as short as I can, but this lengthy passage from Jimmy here towards the end of the chapter is really significant, and this is where he admits to not fully understanding what it is that he's experiencing and that he's trying to stop. And he asks Sadie, maybe you can explain it to me sometime. And of course, there's a bit of foreshadowing going on there because Sadie is eventually the one who unlocks the mystery and is able to explain and is able to reconcile the conflict from the past so that the people living in the present can live more harmoniously. So it's an important passage here, and one that represents the view of the wider community. There's direct reference to Jerry Mortlock never going to listen, but it's not just Jerry Mortlock, it's the entire European community, if you like. It's the white community that are not going to listen. And it concludes with Sadie feeling as though this is overwhelming. There's nothing really that she can do. She feels like it's out of her hands, like it's out of her control, which is an important part of her growth as a character. This has been an ETV production brought to you by Prendeville Catholic College.